Great time. And if you can't be with us, we'll carry you in our hearts. So you'll have a great time through osmosis or something. But it's much better to be there in person. Okay, so each one of us individually and the humankind collectively is spirit in motion. We are all spirit in motion. We're energy beings that just move around and have our being here right now as this human experience. Ever transforming this motion of what we are, because our cells and our energy field is always creating more. So the process of ever transforming has 4 stages to it. So I'm going to do the first stage this week, and then in June, I think I want to finish this whole series of Spirit in Motion, which is what our theme is for this month. So I'm going to finish it in June. So the first stage would be dissolving. The second, imagining. The third, reforming. And the fourth, my favorite, is flying. You're going to learn how to fly. And I was thinking there's a song in there somewhere. Right. Great song. And then the cycle, it begins again. So we finish that whole process in different experiences in our lives, and then we do it all over again because we're having a human experience. So it doesn't stop. That human experience is forever reforming itself. And we just, again, we take what we learned from it, and bring a chair, come on in, and we grow from it. So before looking at our theme for today, the stage of dissolving, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about dissolving. Okay? And we're going to look for a moment at the overall theme for this month and next month, which is spirit in motion, as I said, and being the transformation. So spirit in motion and being the transformation. And one of our spiritual center's core values is personal transformation. We want and encourage everyone to reinvent themselves all of the time, to let go of old that doesn't serve, to move into a freer way of showing up in life. I mean, that's all about transformation, transforming that which doesn't serve us, and being supported while you're going through that whole transformation, because this community does support you. So transformation itself is much more than changing. Much more than changing. It's more than just improving. It's more than becoming better, brighter version of what we are right here and right now. To transform something is to become the something or someone that heretofore never has existed. So as we reinvent ourselves, if you will, I'm taking the liberty of using that word, but it's more of growing and understanding ourselves and who we are in relationship to our own divinity, the more then we can express and expand, so we do show up differently. We show up differently in our own lives. In our own lives. There's more joy, there's more freedom. It's all about joy, freedom, and expressing the truth of who we really are. So, the dictionary defines transform as to change a thing into another, to change from one form to another. But from a spiritual perspective, we know that there is nothing to change, really, absolutely, except maybe our thinking, because within us is that truth which is perfect, whole, and complete. There is nothing missing in the wholeness of who we truly are. So we're just really transforming our thinking of who we are. So the truth of who we are, we're getting to know it better. And that's what we really, really encourage in the spiritual center and in all the spiritual centers of New Thought, I believe, to really get to know ourselves better so we can really enjoy life. So I hope you're enjoying life in your big circle of life that you're in right now. So we are going to talk a little bit about a koan. You know what that is?
Yes.
I knew you would. That's Stephen the Great, the magnificent. He knows all, he is all. And that is the truth. So what is a koan, you might ask? And it's a seemingly paradoxical statement. And it's used in Zen Buddhism. And it's to meditate upon a statement that might seem paradoxical or complex for enlightenment. Okay, so we have one for you today. And it could be a statement like this. It's a great statement. Transformation is the process of becoming what we already are. So let me say that again. Transformation is the process of becoming that which we already are. We're already whole, complete, and perfect. That's the truth. When these bodies, we shed these bodies, that truth of who we are is still there. We don't leave it anywhere. We are it. It's part of the allness, the oneness, the unity of life, of God. So, got it? Cohen?
Got it.
Got it. So we are already God in expression, microcosms of the infinite oneness. We already are that in expression, whole, complete, spiritually. We are spiritually complete. Remember that. And that's a true statement. Each one can take that with them. I am spiritually complete. No matter what the outer is, I am spiritually complete. Great affirmation, actually. At the same time, on this human plane, though, we go through a lot of different obstacles and challenges in our lives. But to become more awake and more aware of what we can do, think, and be while we're going through them. So anything that blocks or feels like it blocks, and that's usually a thought or an emotion that doesn't serve anymore, or an old subconscious way of being, and it blocks that infinite good from flowing through our life. And I once heard it said that enlightenment is not about adding anything, right? It's not about adding anything, but rather it's a process of elimination, eliminating. So we are in the business at Joyful Gathering of transformation. Letting go, letting go, letting go of that which doesn't serve, and embodying more of our own divinity, which is our God selves, in expression. We have evolved from being merely interested in spiritual growth, which is probably maybe how we started. Something was missing, so we had this interest in growing spiritually. And now it's into the interest of, expanded into the interest of transformation, transforming. And I'm seeing that all around me. You see it in the classes, I see it here, I hear people talk about it at the different conferences. It's all about becoming aware of this consciousness that surrounds us, this infinite field of possibilities that is always present. And so that's part of the transformation. It's the expansion of our consciousness into the great collective consciousness that always existed and is always present, whether we are aware of it or not, because in our five-dimensional capacity, our senses, sometimes we are not aware of the parallel universes that are going on in our lives all at the same time, right here, right now. And so in the process of transformation, of becoming something entirely new, but also something that already exists, that divine within us. So in order to get there, well, there's nowhere to get, but in order for this thing to take place in our thinking, because that's where it's taking place, something must dissolve. And so we get to the topic for today, dissolving, dissolving. So just as the earth breaks apart in order for the flower to burst forth into expression, sometimes our lives feel that way also. They feel like they're breaking apart. But are they? Are they really breaking apart, or are they simply making room for something more beautiful to come forth? And so that's the name of the talk. Are you falling apart or falling together? Are you falling apart or falling together? I like to think of it as the latter, even though it sometimes feels like you're breaking apart, but you're not. You're making room for a greater expression of you to come forth. Love that. And so as I look as I look at different aspects of my life, my own life, especially in this last year, it has been a tremendous year of change. What opportunities have presented themselves to me personally? I left as most of you know, I left a relationship of 42 years, got a divorce, went through that interesting experience of the process of divorce, sold a house, bought a house, moved into the house, and that was all in a year. So I got a feeling that something was dissolving in my thinking from all the years of meditation and prayer work, but they all culminated into the 1 year. And so, hey, however the universe takes form, it takes form. And it decided, or I must have decided on a deep level, for it all to happen at the same time. Because it did. But it also happened in divine right order. It was dissolving the old way of showing up, of being, in order for a better way of my living my life to come forth. And so I offer that to you as you all go through different challenges and different experiences in your life. It's making way for something greater, something better. Ernest Holmes wrote, "You are more than you appear to be. Life is greater than you have ever known. The best is yet to come." I love that last line. The best is yet to come. That's a great affirmation. And this, I took this right out of our program for the fundraiser. We have an ad book and a program. And Veronica Parker put that one in there, and I really love that quote. The best is yet to come. So I want to begin our discussion of dissolving with a modern day parable. And you might have heard this. It's about the goldfish. It's a goldfish parable. And it's really so appropriate for this talk today. So there was this little goldfish swimming around his little goldfish bowl, as goldfish tend to do, in the bedroom of a little girl. He would swim around all day long, swimming in one direction and then turning around and swimming in the other direction. And he would do this repeatedly every day. And he would stop once in a while to get some food that was given to him. And so that is the life of a goldfish in a goldfish bowl. That was it. That was his life. Then one day he thought to himself, geez, this is not a very exciting life at all. I think I'm meant to do more than this. Ever feel like that? I think I'm meant to do more than this. He had not a clue what it was. Most of us don't know. He didn't have a clue. But he was very dissatisfied with his life as a goldfish. While he was feeling dissatisfaction with his goldfish life, the little girl who owned him was also feeling dissatisfied with having a fish. She wanted a pet that she could cuddle and play with and that would come running to her when she came home. This is what she wanted, you know. And so she wanted a dog. And I know a lot of parents, in fact, I had dinner with Kathy Milano and her husband and her daughter, their daughter, and they just got a dog because Samantha would be saying, I want a dog. Please, please, can I have a dog? Can I have a dog? Please, please. And then in a moment of weakness, Kathy was telling me she didn't even know, something overcame her, and she said something like, oh, what a cute dog. She saw her dog. I wouldn't mind having that. And then she looked up, and her husband and daughter heard her. That was it. They have a dog. But anyway, that's not the goldfish parable, but that's, you know how kids are. I want a dog. I want a dog. So, and her parents would always say, as parents do, have this tendency, but you have a fish. A fish is very good. A fish is a great pet. And you can only have one pet. You can't have more than one. You can have one pet. So you have your fish, and that's good. That's good. Well, the little girl, she really wanted that dog. So badly, she wanted this dog. But one night, she thought, well, if Mom said I can only have one pet, and I already have a fish, how about I get rid of that pet? So in the middle of the night, it's got a point to it. In the middle of the night, she got up and she took that goldfish bowl and she dumped it down the toilet. And she flushed that goldfish, so now she can have a pet. Now the fish is wondering, what the heck happened here? You know, his whole life got really disrupted. And there's this rush of water as he's dumped into it, and then another whole bunch of water, and then he hears this huge sound, and he starts swirling around very quickly. And he went through those pipes very fast, and he was scared because he couldn't imagine what was happening in his life. All he knew was that he better hang on, and he better keep swimming. He better keep swimming. And so he goes down these pipes, and it was not very pleasant at all. I don't get too graphic here, but it was very yucky and stinky where he was, and it was thick. So he didn't know what to do, but it had been his job to swim his whole life. So he kept swimming, and he kept swimming through this stink and this yucky stuff, and he's working really hard, and he just keeps swimming, and he's praying, please get me out of this. Please, I can't stand it, and he just keeps swimming. Every now and then he gets really tired, so he takes a little nap, but he wakes up and he's still in this muck and mire, and he just keeps swimming again. And he swims through all this stuff, and as the little fish kept on swimming, he was developing muscles at this time. He was developing muscles, so he swims through this stuff, and he gets stronger, and he gets stronger. There is more than one time when he says to himself, forget it, I give up. You know, ever get there? Uncle, enough. No more. No more, God. No, no, no. The other part of him said, keep swimming. Keep swimming. So he continues to swim. He doesn't know for how long this is going to last. Just think about this in your life. Doesn't know how long it's going to last. But he knows he's been swimming for a very long time. And eventually, something begins to change. And he starts to experience some fresh water coming in. And the water really smells good. This was great. Like maybe it's treated with something, and that yuckiness that he's been in for so long starts to dissipate, starts to leave. And he keeps going, and he keeps swimming, and pretty soon he's in a pool of pretty nice water. And all of a sudden, he gets sucked through some tubes, and now he's in this beautiful space called an ocean. So now he's in this ocean. And there he is, in the ocean, and he looked at his little fish self, and he thought, I'm not the same fish I was before. And I think it was true, he wasn't. In fact, he had transformed from all of that work and from all of that swimming into a dolphin. And there he was, this magnificent being, just go with it. There he was, this magnificent being, right? Free in the ocean, just think of yourself in your lives. Jumping and playing and having a great time, and he never felt so alive, so free. And then he looks over at the shore and he sees a little girl. And he thought to himself, I know that little girl. And at first he was very angry at her for what she had done to him. And then he thought, wait a minute, if she hadn't done what she had done, I never would be able to experience this freedom and joy that I am experiencing today. And so he swam over to the shore, and he beckoned her to, with his dolphin call, to climb onto his back, and they went off and they played in the ocean. And I think this is really a great metaphor for a lot of stuff in our lives. The whole story. You know, what am I going to be when I grow up? How am I going to show up in life? What's my life purpose? It's like keep doing, but always hold the higher vision of whatever it is that you are feeling within you. Hold that higher vision. Because the process of dissolving the old to the new can be a little stinky. It can be a little stinky. And it can feel really, really hard. But what you're doing is you're building, as long as you'll keep aligning with the higher power, you're building your spiritual muscles. You're building them. So as this too shall pass, which it always does, you're left with those spiritual muscles. So you're left with a deeper connection with your own spiritual self. And so I think that this whole dissolving part is probably the hardest part of our evolutionary growth, the whole process. And it can be the scariest, letting go, letting God, the universal law, take care. can be the scariest. It can be the most frightening. So just get on with it. Just put one foot in front of the other and trust in a power for good, because it's there to support us. It really and truly is. And I've talked about going through the chaos. That's when we find the brilliance. There is always chaos before the great clarity and the great brilliance. That's the universe, quantum physics. That's universally correct. It really is correct. So sometimes what feels chaotic is that soil breaking apart so that we can sprout and bloom into the greatness of who we are. So, and don't forget the forgiveness part, because we always got to do that forgiveness. Even the dolphin forgave the little girl. Theologian Matthew Fox said, in order to pick up anything new, we must let go of what we are holding. In order to pick up anything new, we must let go of what we are holding. Makes sense. But so often we struggle. We struggle with not wanting to let go. Not go. And it's not because we really love what we're holding on to. It could be scary, stinky stuff. But it's familiar. It's something we are used to. And we don't want to let go because that great unknown could be frightening. That's the development of the knowing that God is good, and the universal consciousness awaits us all of the time to support us, to take care of us. Always, always. And sometimes we might even liquefy. Before we can be transformed, did you know, and I think I spoke of this once before, the caterpillar does not just change into a butterfly. It does not just go into this cocoon and sprout little wings and drop all of its multitude of little legs or shorten its body. No, inside the cocoon, the caterpillar is reduced to a blob of goo, a glob of DNA. That's it. And out of that puddle of goo, that's when the butterfly arises, transformation. Out of that which seems not anything, just a puddle of goo, comes this beautiful butterfly. And lots of times we might feel that we are that puddle of goo. And that's good, because we're getting ready to transform into something greater. We're always transforming. Even when we leave these bodies, transformation is taking place. It never stops, because we're always expanding, because God is always expanding. So here, this is a really important concept for you to grasp as you experience this whole stage of dissolving. And this is it. It is until it isn't. So I let you say that with me. It is until it isn't. And it's like we're always in this isness, but the isness stops, and then it's something else. It is until it isn't. Because becoming aware when the it that we speak of, and staying present in the dissolving process. So becoming aware of what the it is and the dissolving, that will definitely take place, whether you like it or not. So don't argue with the past or plead with the future. Because the more that you resist, the more painful the dissolution is. The dissolving of it is. It's that resistance that keeps it in place. It is until it isn't anymore. When you say, I accept what is just for now, which is a great little affirmation. I accept what is just for now. It kind of lets go of that whole pain of dissolution. It doesn't last as long because we're letting go. Okay, I accept what is for now. And that's telling the universal law that something greater is going to occur. And it also releases that resistance. It keeps the thing in place. And acceptance always being. And now Vince DiPasquale uses that a lot. He's got a little book on acceptance. Acceptance is a huge part of our life. Accepting. So say with me, say after me then, I accept what is for now.
I accept what is for now.
And you're going to say this after me. I am more than this.
I am more than this.
God is more than this.
God is more than this.
So remember that in the heat, the intense heat on the coal, it produces the beautiful diamond. And we're all beautiful diamonds. We are all beautiful, each and every radiant beings of light. Don't we say that? We are. In truth, we are radiant beings of light. And so I decided that I wanted to do more than just talk about these stages and give you my example. So for the next 4 talks that I do, I want you to hear about these stages. So this morning I want you to hear about someone who also knows about the dissolving very, very well. Someone whose world had pretty much dissolved around her. Okay, you can turn that off.